My name is Joanne Roxanne and welcome to my channel. As promised, this is the first video of my OET preparation series. Sorry it took a long time for me to do this. I just started my job at Wellington Regional Hospital, so I got busy with the orientation, with the policy readings, and the e-learnings. But anyway, here we go! So let's get to know OET. What is OET and how does it differ from IELTS? OET stands for Occupational English Test. So both OET and IELTS are used to test your English language, but the main difference between the two of them is that IELTS gives a broader test of the English language, whereas OET tests your ability to communicate in English in a work-related setting, particularly in a healthcare setting. So, IELTS can either be general or academic. On the other hand, OET will depend on your profession. So when you book for an OET, you will be asked to choose your profession, and it could be one of the following. So which exam is easier? The two exams have different level of difficulty, so I think it's just a matter of what setting you are familiar with. I've had the opportunity to take both exams. I took IELTS I think 6 years ago when I was planning to apply in Canada, but I did not pursue it for some reasons. And I took OET almost 2 years ago for my New Zealand Nursing Council application. And since I am a nurse, I find OET easier than IELTS just because the topics in OET are all healthcare settings related. Like for example, in OET writing, you will be asked to write either a discharge or referral letter. And in OET speaking, you will be speaking to a patient. So that is what I am familiar with, and that is what I am using in my everyday life as a nurse. So if I were to take another English exam, I would definitely choose OET again, even though it's more expensive than IELTS. So who recognizes OET? OET is recognized by healthcare regulatory bodies in Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, UK, Namibia, Maldives, Malta, Ukraine, and Singapore. It is also now recognized by Florida and Oregon Boards of Nursing and Washington Nursing Commission in the United States, and some provinces in Canada as well, but for doctors only, not for nurses yet. So as you can see, OET is now recognized by more and more countries, so I'm not going to be surprised if it gets recognized worldwide like IELTS. What is the acceptable score? So, healthcare regulatory bodies in different countries have different acceptable grades. So, I'm going to show you 3 examples from 3 different countries, and I'm going to be using nurses as examples. So, firstly, for nurses applying in Australia, you need to have at least B grades in each subtest within the last 2 years. So you can either achieve the B grades in one sitting, like this, or 2 sittings within a 6-month period. And you need to take all the subtests in the second sitting, and none of the results should be lower than C, for example. So even though you got C in one subtest only, you need to retake all the subtests within 6 months, and no results in the 2 sittings should be below C. Next, for nurses applying in New Zealand, you need to have at least B grades in each subtests within the last 3 years. So it can either be achieved in one sitting or, here comes the cool part, multiple sittings. So not just 2, but it could be 3 or 4 as long as it is within a 12-month period. And another good news is that you only need to retake the subtest that you have a grade lower than B. So take a look at this for example. So you only have to retake the subtest that you have a grade lower than B. You can take multiple tests as long as they are within a 12-month period. Another example, for nurses applying in UK, you need to have at least B grade in listening, reading, speaking, and just C plus for writing. So I know most people, including me, find writing as the most challenging subtest. So yeah, if you're gonna apply in UK, you only need C plus for writing. So like Australia, the maximum sitting that you can take is 2 sittings within a 6-month period, and you have to take all the subtests in the second sitting, and none of the grades should be lower than a C plus, like this. So for example, you get a C plus in listening, you have to retake all the subtests within a 6-month period, and none of the results should be lower than a C plus. So as shown, acceptable OET results differ from one country to another, so you have to check the requirements of the healthcare body of the country that you're applying to. And now, I'm going to share 6 useful tips based on my experience to guide you in your OET preparation. Number 1, go back to the basic grammar lessons. English is not our first language, and it is acceptable to sometimes forget English grammar rules. So specifically, I strongly suggest that you review subject-verb agreement, tenses, past, present, future, and all the other tenses such as present perfect, future perfect, continuous, etc. And you might also need to review the use of prepositions, because us Filipinos, we just use the word sa, like sa umaga, sa labas, sa kanto, sa lamesa. But in English, there are so many prepositions to choose from, in, on, at, etc. And you also need to review the use of pronouns, he or she, because like for us, we just use siya to pertain to either a man or a woman. So it's sometimes difficult for us to use he or she properly, and I'm guilty of that sometimes. So yeah, you need to go back to your basic grammar lessons, and I could do some videos about grammar lessons if you want. Just comment down below. Number 2, learn the test structure. So it is important for you to know how the 4 subtests look like, how many questions do they have, how long do you have to answer the questions, and the criteria for grading for the writing and speaking subtest. So even if you are excellent in English, it is not just a good idea to just go and sit the exam without knowing what to expect. So like for example, in writing and speaking, there is a criteria that you should follow. It is a criteria that the examiners will look at to grade you. So if you don't know that, it would be very hard for you to get a high score. So in my next videos, I'm going to show how the 4 subtests look like, and I'm going to share my strategies and tips and methods on how I answered those questions. So make sure you have subscribed to me already so you will be notified when my next videos are up. Number 3, set a date for your exam. It could be 3 months from now, 6 months from now, or 12 months from now. It doesn't matter as long as you set a date for your exam. So this worked for me because it helped me not to procrastinate about studying or to, delay taking the exam. So what you need to do is to gauge yourself, gauge your ability and your confidence level, and decide how long you need to prepare for the OET exam. And once you've set the date for your exam, create a study plan. Remember that if you work 12-hour shifts, like I did before, you might not have the energy to study after your work, so you need to study during your off-day periods. So you have to consider that also when setting your exam date and creating your study plan. Number 4, practice, practice, practice. So after reviewing grammar lessons and learning about the structure of the test, you should start answering official OET sample tests, which you can see at www.occupationalenglishTest.org. So the more practice tests that you do, the more familiar you will become about the structure of the test, and the more that you will get used to the time constraint of the test. And on top of that, I strongly suggest that you start speaking in English with your family and friends. So this will really be helpful for you to gain the confidence level that you need for the speaking subtest. Number 5, relax the day before your exam. Stop studying the day before your exam, because if you do, you will just cram and it will just add to the anxiety that you are already feeling. So my husband and I took OET in Dubai, so we had to travel from Saudi. So we decided to take that opportunity to tour Dubai as well. So hitting two birds with one stone. So the day before our exam, we were at Dubai Miracle Garden and Global Village relaxing. And on the day of our exam, we woke up relaxed and not stressed at all. And this helped us become more focused on our exam. So do not cram. Cramming does not help. And number 6, pray. Pray for guidance and pray for concentration and focus, and pray that everything will go smoothly during your exam day. Those are some tips that I could share with you to help you achieve a high score in one sitting. But if for some reason you need to retake the exam, remember that it will not make you a failure. Don't feel down, but instead be proud of yourself that you have done something difficult and that you have started doing the first step in achieving your dream. And for the next video of my OET preparation series, I'm going to cover everything you need to know about the listening subtest. So make sure you are subscribed. Thank you so much.